Ladies and gentlemen, it's currently November of 2024, and at the time of watching this video, there are many speculations as to the future of Magnus Carlsen. Is he sunsetting? Is he sunsetting in the final phase of his career? Is the next generation coming to take his spot? He's currently in Kolkata in India. Well, whenever you're watching this, maybe he's in Norway, maybe he's in Dubai. I don't know where he spends his time. But at the time of recording this, he's in Kolkata, and he is playing the Tata Steel Rapid and Blitz. He's playing a rapid chess tournament of 25 minutes per player, and then a Blitz chess tournament. He's playing a lot of talented players. A lot of them are Indian. And he is unstoppable. I made a video yesterday. I'll link it. I'll put it somewhere in the description. The third line. You could check it out. And yeah, I mean, this dude, he's not stopping anytime soon. You know how, like, right now, we're watching LeBron James in year 22 set all the records, get triple doubles? This is what watching Magnus is kind of like. Magnus is probably the LeBron of this generation. And, you know, people say Gary Kasparov is Michael Jordan. Jordan LeBron, that type of debate. Magnus has now won his 9th tournament this year. So, yesterday, he defeated So Wesley. He defeated Arjun Erigaisi. And today, he defeated some more really, really good players, all from the modern generation. One of them from his generation. Here we go. Friendly reminder, if you're watching this in November, link in the description to the GothamChess chessboard. You can get this for a friend, family member, or yourself. Beautiful little Gotham chess set, magnetic, comes with a free course for new players. Available at your local Walmart. And in December, Chess League 2.0 is launching. Early sneak peeks have been sent out to Chess League Plus subscribers. Folks that are subscribed to my Patreon are going to get a sneak peek. And the rest of you will have to wait until December, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. Okay. A man who definitely will be checking out Chess League is Magnus. I know that for a fact. Magnus Vincent Keimer from Germany. The best player from Germany right now. And like number 15 in the world. We have d4, we have knight f6, we have a very normal game. Everything is cool, everything's chill. This is called the semi-Slav because he only wears Adidas on the top. On the bottom, he wears something else. All right, he doesn't have full Adidas. And now white plays bishop g5, knight d7. All of this has been seen many, many times. And here, black generally chooses a setup. If you're going to play knight bd7 right away, it means you're probably going to play queen a5. This setup, knight bd7, knight f6, and queen f5 with the triangle pawn structure is called the Cambridge Springs. Very, very fun name. It's a very nice thing. Cambridge Springs sounds like a posh neighborhood in London where the average housing price is like £2 million and everybody has like Sunday tea. That just sounds like London in general. Anyway, queen a5. All right, is it called like high noon, high tea, something like that? I don't know. You guys will tell me in the comments. I like to say things in videos, and then you guys timestamp it in the comments and teach me things. It's kind of fun. I spit on my microphone. I was so excited about London tea. Anyway, the idea is to go here, and the idea is to go here. All right, Magnus takes. And we get knight takes d5. Not pawn takes d5, knight takes d5. Rook c1, defending. Let's not forget that when the knight moves, this bishop is hanging. Magnus will probably see that. Take, bishop a3. Rook goes to c2. It's important. The rook keeps this pawn protected and that pawn protected. And now Keimer plays c5. Now you'll notice that Vincent's time is at 26 minutes. He's gaining time every time he gains a move. He plays a move. So he's memorized all of this before the game. Magnus plays here. Vincent takes. Still in what we call prep. b6. Still in what we call prep. Bishop e4 attacks the rook. Still in what we call prep, although he didn't really have to be in prep. His rook was hanging. Bishop f4. Bishop b7. Magnus is getting completely outprepared. He's down nearly 10 minutes in a rapid game, and he plays queen e2, just defending his center. Bishop e7 is a wicked move, by the way. You just give up your rook to try to counterpunch in the center. It's a pretty gnarly move. Queen e2 and bishop a6. So Vincent now spends a little bit of time. He still plays one of the best moves, but clearly he's not in his prep anymore. Magnus plays back to d3. So the rook is still hanging. So now black has to trade and play rook c8. We have castles. We have castles. Now we have this phase of the game. So, look, I like to show you how Magnus beats the future generation and how he takes them head on. Yesterday, he played Arjun Erigaisi. If you haven't seen that video, while I'm recording this right now, Arjun is the rising star of India, And yet they have a second rising star who's playing for the World Championship. Like, they got a bunch of rising stars, right? But they can't really get good positions against Magnus out of the opening. They just don't. Like, Magnus has a way of playing ideas against them that are very, very tricky. They don't follow the engine preparation. And look at this. I mean, this is a fantastic position for Vincent Keimer. He has reached the position with a 2 and a 4 structure, kind of like Battleship. White has what's called the hanging pawn structure, but Black has a great blockade, and now it's just about how you're going to utilize your pieces. So Magnus plays c4. He wants to make sure those pawns control space and aren't weak. Normal move by Vincent, getting the bishop out of the position. h4. This is a modern idea. If this was played in like 2016, there is literally, and I mean literally, 0 chance Magnus would have played the move h4. Maybe 1 in 100 simulations. Why? I once made a video. You can go watch it after this. It's called How Magnus Carlsen Learned from Computers, or, you know, how Magnus learned from Stockfish. What Stockfish taught Magnus? I don't remember the exact name, but that was the premise. And the point is that modern engines love to use their h-pawns in positions that look like it doesn't make any sense. h4 is one of these modern ideas. It's very mysterious, but somehow in the future, you create problems for the opponent. Vincent plays this completely reasonable move, and White can also attack if he wants or push the pawn. So this rook comes to the b file, queen h5. Notice Vincent spent a long time. He didn't know what to do. Vincent got out of the opening and froze. He didn't know, like, do I move my knight? Do I move my queen? Do I move my bishop? What am I trying to do? Suddenly he's low on time. Look at this move. Rook b5. Vincent sneaks onto the g file. Magnus says no trade. I played h4, I'm getting knight g5, I'm getting h5, I'm trying to attack. Vincent plays h6. Now, Magnus, a man of high class in chess, plays a4. Look at this move. He plays h4 and he plays a4. You know what we call this? We call this the crab. So we call this. He's playing h4, he's playing a4. There's nothing you can do. Dude's hitting you from all sides. Queen g4. Now he solidifies. He's not yet attacking. Trying to overload the nervous system of the opponent. Vincent plays a6. Rook drops back to b2. Now Vincent takes on h4, entering some really nasty complications. Magnus ignores all of them and plays a5. And it took Vincent about 3 minutes to convince himself to go for this. And Magnus says, I'm not going to enter that position. I'm going to play a5, ba5, and now c5. So for the moment, Vincent has 2 extra pawns against Magnus. But he's down 5 minutes. There is a level of hesitation. Magnus plays c6. He's making a lot of difficult decisions for Vincent. Bishop takes on f4. C takes on d7. Rook takes, rook takes. This bishop is hanging sometimes. Rook c8 is a problem. They're both down to 4 minutes. Bishop g3 by Vincent. Magnus has a knight versus 5 pawns. 5 pawns. This is the crazy thing about this game. Magnus is the best endgame player of all time, but he has literally 5 pieces remaining. Of the 16 that started, one of them can't be captured, okay? So he's lost almost every single piece. How is he possibly going to? And now he has 3. He has 3 pieces remaining. Winning this position is impossible. You got 1 pawn. That 1 pawn is traded. It's a draw. Rook and knight versus rook. And now this absolute lunatic proceeds over the next 10 to 15 moves to paralyze Black. Black can't move on the queen side. Black can't move on the king side. Probably Vincent should have been more active with his rook. Chuck the pawn. He didn't want to chuck the pawn. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Vincent Keimer proceeds to lose every single pawn. How did that even happen? Rook f2, king e6, knight g5. And Vincent resigns because if he plays a2, knight h7, and even though he gets the queen, he gets mated. Guys, I don't even understand how this man does this to people. Like, look at this position, bro. He has no pieces left. How is it even possible? How did the 1 pawn survive the entire apocalypse? It's because he nurtured it. He nurtured it. He stayed close. He stayed flexible. And he just froze Vincent at the end. Completely froze him. Like, I love to just see the way he wins games. It's mesmerizing. All he needs is 1 pawn. He literally just needed 1 pawn. He starts the game with all this. He just needed 1 pawn. That's all he needed, because rook and knight versus rook is a draw. Unreal. Now, he's going to win another game here against, I assume a friend, Daniil Dubov. If you don't know, Daniil Dubov is a fascinating guy. So if you go to YouTube and you type in Daniil Dubov interview, there is like a 33% chance that you will find an interview with him wearing Balenciaga. He always wears a Balenciaga sweater. He has like 4 in his collection. He's always in one. Might as well. They're expensive. You might as well wear them like handbags or whatever, right? Also, I shout this man out all the time. He's one of the strongest grandmasters in the world until, I get the title. I bench 185. So, Daniil Dubov can do one-arm pull-ups, which for a chess player is like god level. He's really, really jacked. Big fitness guy. And he worked on the training team of Magnus in one of the world championship matches. So these guys know each other very well. This time Magnus plays bishop e5 check. This is a Sicilian that you play when you kind of want to chill. You play like this. You set up the Maroczy bind formation. These two have had many pillow talks about chess openings and maybe other things. I don't know what they're into, but definitely chess openings because they worked on the same training team. Knight c6, d4, take, g6, knight c3. And this is a very chilled, relaxed setup where you don't need to think at all. Honestly, Magnus might have played this because Daniil once told him, I hate this setup for black. And Magnus was like, shouldn't have told me that. And what white does is white just plays b3, rook c1, rook e1. Very easy moves. Nobody has to think. In fact, both of them haven't thought, right? So now they have to play this position. Maybe one time they had a bunch of beers and they said, black is fine here. Magnus said, white is better. Now they have to, that's the fascinating thing because they've talked about a million different openings. So we have knight c6, queen c6. Now, in these types of setups, white has a beautiful formation, but seemingly a very difficult plan. Black tries to rely on d5 and b5 and occasionally f5 pawn break ideas. Knight d7, reroutes. Sometimes the queen comes in here, but obviously not in this case. And I think what Magnus is trying to show in this particular game, as the boys just proceed to trade literally all their pieces, is he's trying to show every endgame is better for white. I mean, Daniil played 20 moves and hasn't spent even like a minute. Magnus played 20 moves and spent 2 minutes. So this is clearly the position that they have decided to go for. It's a slightly worse endgame because white has more space and slightly safer king. And also white has this e-file to work with. So more space, e-file, let's see how it goes. Now, this is actually for anybody watching this that's a coach, give this position to your students and make them play. White versus black, training game. Only white should win. If black wins, it's really, really bad. So rook c3, e5, already a massive decision, allowing an en passant and leaving black with a weakness. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a big decision by Dubov. I mean, Dubov says, all right, I'm going to defend my bad pawn, but it's a huge decision. Magnus goes for a pure queen and rook endgame, right? Goes here, puts pressure, and now has to improve. There's that h4 again, but this time it's different. This time it's not as ridiculous as it was in the previous game. And now look at how Magnus just makes improvements. Just very simple improvements. a4, simple improvements. King h2, chilling. King g1. Those are not improvements. This is him buying time because he doesn't exactly know what to do. Now he goes to a rook endgame. He improves his opponent's pawn structure. But it comes with a trade-off. You know that meme? That meme, the long face guy? I hope he's not like canceled or anything. But I'm mentioning him, the one that originated like 2020, 2021. I offer you a trade. Well, I offer you a trade. You get a better structure, I get the d-file. Now, what is important in rook endgames? Material, let's say it's equal. Activity of pieces, right? And how weak certain pawn formations are, how exploitable they are. White structure is very weak, very strong. The rook is not going to get there anytime soon, unless it's ChatGPT. Rook d7, a5, rook d6. Now what's funny is, in this position, the rook is going to have to go behind one of these pawns. There is simply nothing else you can do. If you were fast enough to play e3, that would be great, because now your rook is very active, and we're both going to try to eat each other's pawns. The problem is, you're too slow. It all comes down to one move. After e4, rook takes a7, e3, now I don't take you. This is actually super instructive as well. The only winning move in this position for white, it's very instructive, is king f1. Because you cannot allow black's rook to enter. It's very, very instructive. Very overlooked detail here. And if e2, king e1, pawn's not promoting, rook can't move off the e file because the pawn needs defense. So very instructive. He goes to d6, and now this is it. This is the worst nightmare position in an endgame for black. Rook passive, king massive. King is going to walk to e4. The only thing black can do is maybe kick the rook out. So he's trying. Magnus plays rook d5. All right, the rook is kicked out, but he still has, control of everything. But Dubov is not dead. All right. In fact, Magnus here, I think should have had something slightly more accurate. Like instead of like here, he should have kept the rook on d6 and marched quicker. He did it slightly inaccurately, but yeah, now he just breaks apart the pawns. So b takes. Very instructive moment. Is it better to take that pawn or that pawn? 50-50, right? No, it's better to take a5 because you need the outside pass pawn quicker. That is what you need. You need this pawn quicker. You need to get off the a file, and then you have to start pushing. So rook a5, rook c6, king e3. Magnus is not up a pawn, but he's got the target. He has the more active rook, and he's got the better pawn. The worst possible pawn to defend. Rook b5, a5. Now it's just a matter of time. King keeps walking. Black has to make a move. Black has to commit something. He goes for counterplay. Black still needs to make a move, right? He's totally stuck. g5, he gambits a pawn to try to make some counterplay, but now the rook goes around the back. You get to that pawn, you take that pawn, and you're still up a pawn. Rook c3, and now king, and this is over. By the time the king gets here, you're taking that, and these two are simply going to walk. That's it. Completely effortless game. Like, I mean, part of you wonders why the boys made 20 moves instantly. Like, maybe they just had a bet. Dubov, like I told you, was like, you can't beat me in this endgame. Magnus was like, yeah, I can. And he made it happen. I don't know. But, I mean, the best comparison that I give to those of you that are fight fans, this is like fighting a really good wrestler. You're never getting up. Ever. It's like fighting Mirab, fighting Islam Makhachev, Khabib, even Georges St. Pierre. And if that means nothing to you, I mean, imagine any of you, your size, your body weight, somebody takes you down. You just can't get up. Nothing you can do. They're so good. Their technique is flawless. You just can't get up. You are drowning. Okay, better example. You're out in the ocean. Riptide. That's what it feels like to play Magnus. You just can't do anything. Now, the best part is he won the tournament after this game. So Magnus could have forfeited the last game. You know how he's always late to games? He could have just not even come. All right? No coming. He could have just left. Just left, went, that's it. Doesn't have to show up. Nojibek gets a forfeit win. Magnus wins the tournament. No, he shows up and he plays a pretty fun game. And, Nojibek is a fighter. He's a really, really big fighter. So what does he do? Magnus plays some offbeat. I've never seen this in my life. And then here, Queen G4. I mean, we're gonna get a crazy game. And for the people that are watching this that are under 12 years old, we're gonna get a skibbity game. This is skibbity. This is whatever this is. I'm speaking your language. Skibbity. This is like when you see your teacher in the grocery store. You're like, what the? Anyway, and then they look at you and they go skibbity, and then you wake up from your dream. Queen G4, G6. This is why you watch these recaps, all right? Because it's beautiful and it's nonsense at the same time. Anyway, G6. He's it's giving Swiss cheese. Okay, I'll stop. A3. Magnus gives away his dark squared bishop, and almost all his pawns are on light squares. So we say if you're going to trade your dark squared bishop, you should have pawns on the dark squares, and yet the position is equal. You look at this, you go, but he does it. Yeah. I can't teach you anything. I really can't. I mean, he's just D3, D6, Queen G3. All right? Queen E7. Nojibek plays F4, right? Takes a lot of space, trying to fight. Knight F3, Bishop E2, castle. He's got to get this bishop out because he's got the bishop pair. F5 is the move chosen, all right? E5. So some nasty stuff is about to happen to the Magnus position. Keep in mind, he could have forfeited this game and won the tournament. So a draw is good enough. Knight F3. Knight f7. Solid. Nojabek rips it open. This is why Magnus likes to play Nojabek. He actually really does. I asked him about this, and Nojabek is just a fighter. In fact, I think Magnus respects Nojabek as one of the best young players in the world because he's relentless, completely relentless. Knight goes to a5. Magnus trying to... What's happening here with the bishop pair, all of this, moves like knight a5 are when boxers try to slip punches, roll with them, and counter. In tennis, it's like firing back a shot twice as fast. I mean, that's not exactly how it works, but using your opponent's momentum against them. Bishop e3, I mean, Nojabek is just going to crash into the black position. Every piece is ready. Look at every piece is ready. Boom, 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 but like everything. King h8, d5. This man has come to play, and yet Magnus is 10 minutes up. Just better time usage, better feel for the position. He's making moves, and he's making them much faster than Nojabek. So Nojabek, despite having a nice position, he can't break through. And this is just sophisticated chess. This is high-level chess. This is experienced chess by Magnus. Now Nojabek has to back up. He's got to back up because the knight's not doing anything. It's got to re-enter the position another way. Bishop a6. Knight g5. He is just moments away from removing all the defense. Knight h7, queen h4 ideas. I mean, these pieces are crashing on the queen side, but there is nothing there. He's trying. He takes on d5. Rook d5 by Nojabek. Bishop c4. Magnus grabs a pawn. Nojabek plays e d6, flicking in a move. Queen's hanging. Queen's got to go here. Now he takes, knight takes. Now for a brief moment, material is equal. Rook d1. Full investment in this pawn. Full investment. Magnus is on the ropes, bobbing, weaving. Rook g7, trying to defend himself. The bishop slides out of the way of getting captured. Now you will remove the knight. Now you will go c4. Bishop b2, absolutely butchering Magnus. Rook e8. Oh, yes. There it goes. Queen d3. Nojabek is building up the advantage. Magnus, knight takes g5. He's got to do something, right? He's got to make moves. Queen c4. He got rid of the knight. Now this knight comes to e4. It's just a matter of time. Once Nojabek gets this bishop on this diagonal, it is a bazooka. It is a bazooka of a bishop. Queen d3. c4 is on the way, so Magnus gives away the c-pawn. He's trying to buy some time, but it's not good enough. Queen c4. Rook c8. Queen d4. Now it's about to get even worse. It's about to get even worse because not only is there a bazooka of a bishop, there's a queen there as well. Magnus tries to shut down c4. It's a moment away from happening. The entire game hinges upon whether this move is going to win the game. Magnus plugs the c4 square. But now queen e5. a6. Nojabek is a pawn up, and he is just seconds away from winning the position. Rook d4, but Magnus will not give up. He now evicts the king from the diagonal. Takes, pawn takes. For a brief moment, the square has been replugged. Now bishop c1. Nojabek is incoming again. I mean, everything is hinging upon this. Now the king is off the dark squares. The bishop is back to e3. Magnus plays rook g. This is like a Rubik's cube. You keep sliding everything. You keep sliding everything to the right spot. h3. Rook to e8. And Magnus kept it tense for just enough time here. Nojabek took a look at this position and was like, if I play queen d4, Magnus goes rook e6, and I'm going to lose my pawn. Remember, Nojabek doesn't have the bar. If he takes on c4, and then Magnus takes on d6, right? Or takes with the knight, even. I mean, takes with the knight. Queen's hanging, this bishop's hanging. And Nojabek, in this position, sacrifices his queen. And he must have thought the queen can't move. Bishop d4 is game over. Why is it game over? Because, let's say black plays a5, I play bishop e5, and I simply go here. Black doesn't have time. Black can't move the queen off the back rank, because if you move the queen off the back rank, I make a queen. But he totally forgot about queen h4. And queen h4 is a draw. It completely secures a draw. You make the queen, but queen e1 and queen g3. It's perpetual check. Here, 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 here. Looks like you get away. but you don't. You can block. It doesn't help. Knight g3. I think maybe he missed this. And this is just a draw. So Magnus escapes the final game of the day. A scary game! But he already won the tournament. So I feel like he also played this game with house money, probably had a little bit too much fun, and he still manages to save it. He goes undefeated. The next generation has to wait. This is his 9th tournament win of the year, which is insane because I feel like he's played 9 tournaments. He has not played a lot this year. He isn't playing a lot of chess, but every time he does, he wins. And the good news is, he has a Blitz tournament coming up tomorrow against, I think, mostly the same people, but they're going to sub in maybe 1 or 2. So we'll see. Undefeated, undisputed. You can't get him down. When he plays, he wins. When he plays, it's his to lose. Check your local Walmart or go to walmart.com. Link is in the description. Chessly 2.0 is coming in December. That's all I have for you. Get out of here.